That day, hi, we are continuing where we left off on the last episode. So, my name is Fatia, and we are back again. I will try to record this episode back to back because I am really busy most of the time. I am doing my master's at the moment, a lot of assignment need to be done, a lot of reading need to be done. So when I have time, free time like this, I'm going to record everything I need to record for that time and put it like it is within like 10 minutes rather than overloading my listener, my viewers to overcomplicating things. So we are going to continue where we were before. So this is like a part two of what we were talking before. So after my ex went back to Zanzibar, I was frustrated. I was distraught. I was crying every day. And it's like all my children were under 5. So to have like two toddlers and an infant without having any kind of support, rather than this friend that you really trust and you feel like, oh no, she is like my sister, she's my everything, she's my savior. So I knew that something need to be done. I need to end this. So I called him and I said that I don't think that I can go on this relationship. And because by then I was so hooked with the dependency to depend on him because he was more like manipulative, and he was like, do you know when someone have a control over you? When we met, I was like 15 and he was 36. So we have an age gap of 20 years. So it means he was more matured while I was still a child. But it doesn't matter, or I'm not seeing it that way, because for me, I thought like this is love and I care about this person and this person really cares about me. So for him to end up just leaving me then with the with an infant and two toddler, it was unimaginable situation. But I had to pull myself through. But I said that I can't. Why? Because I was a mess. I was physically unable to do anything. I was suicidal. I was kind of homicidal. I was kind of like having disruptive thoughts. I feel like I wasn't like not really safe around myself or my children. And because of that, every time my anger towards him, I end up feeling like I disliked my children, I disconnect with them. But because I knew that I love them so much, and I knew that something is wrong with me, because a mother should not have that kind of feelings or thoughts. And I remember I spoke to a friend of mine, another friend, who is really, really, really good friend of mine. And his husband was a GP. So he knew a lot of mental health and all that. And I end up saying that, do you know, I'm feeling this, I'm feeling that. Because in my culture, we don't do. We don't talk about postpartum. We don't talk about postnatal depression. We don't talk about depression. We don't talk about mental health. So for me, all of this was new, but the feelings were there. And I knew that it's not normal to have this kind of feelings. So either I really hate my children, or I am really, really losing my marble. And when I speak to my friends and say that I think that I feel disconnect, but I don't know why I'm feeling this. And she said that, okay, we're going to help you out. And they end up contact like a crisis team. And by that time, crisis team end up taking things like this very serious, because that time there was just like a case of baby P, and a lot of like children are being, you know what I mean, were being abused by the parents and all that. So the crisis team came, and I knew I have to be honest, because I wanted my children to be safe, and because I couldn't trust myself. I wasn't sleeping at night. I wasn't really doing anything all the time. I feel like I'm losing it. And every time I speak to my family, they end up saying that just read Quran. Quran's gonna help you, and it does help. But I think when it comes to mental health, you need also physical help. And because of me being a mother who are doing everything alone, it was really difficult for me to rest. It was very difficult for me to think. It was very difficult for me to interact with anyone. And because my ex really isolated me from many people because of his own jealousy, his own life, I end up being really alone rather than this one friend that I had. So to go with that, after crisis team came, and I end up saying that no, I don't think that I am okay. So they did the assessment. After they completed the assessment, they said, okay, do you think that you'll be able to look after your children? And that was the most difficult question anyone ever asked, and for me to ever answer. But I went and said, no, I don't think that I am capable of looking after my own children. And they asked why. Because I said, I think I am angry all the time. I feel anger towards my children. I feel anger because I feel like before I had the children, my life was okay. Their dad was fine. And then it's like once they came over, rather than making us a family, we become less than that. But not only that, I knew that inside I wasn't really believing what I was saying, but I was saying it anyway, because I felt like I don't want to lie to myself anymore. I don't want to hide anything, because I want to have the chance to look after my children. I need to have a chance to raise them. So after that, after that day, my children were taken by social services, and I was left alone. I felt more isolated. I felt more vulnerable. I felt more angry. I felt more frustrated. I didn't have the answer for any of it. I didn't have the understanding of what just happened. But after it happened, I just regretted it. And I thought I'd rather take everything I said back. But I couldn't. I've already said it. So, with that in mind, you've already said what you said. In the system, it's already been putting down that these children were at risk by their own mother and all this. So they left without really telling me anything or where my children's are going to go. And I remember that day was Friday. So it means on Saturday there's no work. It means on Sunday there is no office. So I had to stay that day, Friday, until nearly Wednesday for me to know where my children's were and to know anything from social services. But before that, after my children were taken, I remember I was asked this question: is there anyone who can help you looking after the children? And I said, I'll call their dad to ask if he can come back and help me to look after the children. And I remember after I called him and say that I am really struggling. I am not coping and I need help. So can you please come back and help me with the children? I remember what he said to me. He said that you are becoming like white people now, because white people are the only one who have mental health. Us in Africa, we don't have that kind of crap. And for someone who have like power over you, you end up believing what they're saying is true. And you think that, was I just like lying to myself because I don't know what mental health is or how it's supposed to be? So I was like, maybe I'm just lying to myself, or I am thinking that I am not feeling well, but I am. So I had to go tell the crisis team that no, there is no one who can help me with the children. So it means the children have to be with the social services until the solutions are found. And because I already had like other health issue back then, I wasn't really diagnosed with my heart problem. So I had to be like going to a lot of checkups and all that. So that's why I end up thinking that no, I had to surrender my children. Otherwise, I am going to lose my mind or lose my life. And I can't have that. So in a way, I felt like, no, I wasn't selfish. I think I put my children first before me. Although people might think that I did the wrong thing. But the back of my head telling me that, no, you are doing great and you are going to be fine. But I knew that I wasn't fine because I was really losing my mind. I wasn't sleeping. I wasn't really doing as much. I was in pain all the time. So after that, I was sent back to the GP, and the GP ended up prescribing me medication to help me with my sleeping, and just been giving this lots of things to help me cope. And then recommendation, counseling, and all that. So on my side, I thought that my children are going to be looked after while I'm getting help with my health. But with the social services, they end up changing their minds after like 3 weeks, and they said that we are applying for to move the children permanently from their mother's care. And at that moment, I end up saying, I think I made the huge mistake of my life. Because while you are suffering mental health, and then someone else putting more pressure that is going to have negative impact on you, it's not going to help with your recovery. So I started drinking, and I was a little bit self-destruct at that moment because I thought that there's nothing I can do. I don't think that I'm going to see my children again. It took like nearly a month without me contacting my children or seeing them to have the first contact, and at the same time having the file from social services, and also being advised to find a lawyer because my children are going to be removed from my care. And I was like, okay. So the person who helped me to call the crisis team end up communicating like with his church member, one of his church member, his son who was a lawyer, and he end they end up putting me like recommending me to him, and they took me to him, and he was like, okay, because he was like family lawyer. And I end up explaining everything happened from the beginning to where we were. And he said that why did the social services want to remove the children permanently if you are the one who surrendered the children? Because you knew that you are not capable of looking after them. And I said that that's the thing, because for me, I don't have family. I don't have any connection or anyone who's going to be able to help me 24 hours while I am doing everything else. So I knew that I need proper help for me to look after myself. So with that in mind, the lawyer ended up saying that, oh, okay, I'll take it. I'll take your case. Okay. So I had a lawyer, and at the same time, I had to go to like therapy groups. I have to go to counseling. I had to go to a lot of hospital appointment because of my heart. And also at that time I was told I have like benign tumor in my head. So it's like a lot of things were happening at the same time, in having a pressure of your children being like removed, where you like rather than being positive things for you to do, they end up using hostility in between that. For me, that's really disappoint me, because all I wanted was my children to be safe, and I wanted for me to get healthy, and I wanted to like be able to see my children. I didn't want things to escalate to end up being in court to have all that drama. But then what we are planning is not what God's plans. But I end up taking it as it is. So during that time, it's like while you are like you have your financial instability, you have a lot of things taking away from you, you end up feeling like everything is going against you. And I felt like I don't want to be here. I was giving up in my heart. My heart was like, I'm done. I had enough of all this. I can't cope. While all this going on, I was still begging my partner to be like, please, I'm begging you, just change your ways. And he was like, I cannot compromise my business. I cannot compromise what I have to come back to look after the children because I know you're just pretending because you know that I have another woman and this and that. And I'm like, no, that's not it. Do you understand? That's not it. But you end up feeling powerless because if someone dismisses you and you feel like there is no one who is really listening to you, you feel like everyone is against you. And that's how I used to feel. So at that time, I was seeing the children once a week. We were meeting at the social services special, like a meeting, parents meeting area. So go there for an hour. I do their hair, and my son was like from being 1 month old until now he was like almost 3 months. It was really painful to see them growing and feel them like okay, they are growing and they are healthy and they're safe, but they are not with me. And I knew that I wasn't ready to be with them. So I said that I need to do this for them. I need to do this for them. I need to find the reason why I feel the way I'm feeling and how am I going to get the help I need. So I keep attending mental health group with changes. I keep going to counseling at Savannah. I keep meeting different community, different people. So I'm not feeling isolated. I'm not feeling that self-harm. I'm not feeling any of that thing that they're making you think that your life is not worth living. And then I realized something. I'm not familiar with any of this. There is no manual that coming to look how to look after children. There is no manual coming on how to deal with mental health. I didn't even know about mental health. I only knew that people one day, or maybe they were born to just be different. But I've never noticed, or I never knew or understanding how mental health can develop and how it might end up having impact that might have in people's life. And all this time, I keep talking to my family and be like, they were, it's like they were giving me hope. But it's like they're too far away, so they couldn't help. And financially, I wasn't even financially capable of doing any of that or anything. So I had to keep praying and keep thinking while I'm still deep down inside, I have the pain. I was drinking, I was smoking because I thought that this is going to help, the things are going to help me to distract me from all the pain I was feeling. And I was also self-harm. So I used to do things to myself that wasn't really nice because the pain I felt inside was way worse, but I wanted to express that pain in a physical way, where I can feel that pain, but also feeling like I'm expressing it, like I'm letting it out. But I didn't know the safest way to do it. So I kept going counseling, and by that time I started like proper. I was already proper diagnosed with severe depression, and was having really, really bad postnatal depression. So it was like two different things. So my hormones were all over the place, and my physical health was what was also all over the place. So it wasn't easy, and it wasn't simple things for me to do, or to say that okay, I can just fix it with the easy things. So we went to court, and I did all I needed to do, and alhamdulillah, I keep praying every night. I like do everything I could. My parents give me like my family end up giving me some dua, and my sister keep talking to me a lot, and like make sure that I'm coming down and all that. And my partner wasn't really supportive, because he ended up telling me that you thought you are doing this to punish me, but it ended up backfire, and you are the one who are in pain now. So after that, I thought that no, I don't need to speak to him, because what he does is not really helping me. He was gaslighting me and making me feel more worse than what I was. And to tell you the truth, there is nothing more dangerous than when you love someone blindly, and when you love someone unconditionally, because you end up believing in everything they're saying, and you feel like their words are like the words from a messiah. You don't want to listen to anyone else. So, excuse me. So after all this, I end up telling him that I had enough. I can't be with you. And I'm pretty sure he thought that I was joking, because I was really self obsessed. I was really obsessive over him. I was I thought that I couldn't live without him. I had these obsessions that like I can't even explain it. But like it hit me, and I said that who is important in my life? Is he the more important one, or my children are? And the moment I chose my children, I knew that I need to change. I knew I need to change. And that's when I start changing. And how did I start changing? I start changing by saying that I'm better than him. I'm better than him. I'm better than him. And I can do this without him. So every single day, rather than me calling him every day, because it was really expensive to call from England to call to Zanzibar. It was really expensive. So me stop calling him was like, yeah, it was really good. Although it was painful, it was really difficult to control myself on not speaking to him. Although we were arguing all the time, but I had that obsession of calling him. I feel like if I'm not talking to him, like I am going to break, like my heart is going to burst or something. So I stopped. And the first day was the hardest. The second day he called, I didn't pick up, and I text him, and then I said I need to stop that. And I keep taking them small steps while I'm going to court, and then I cut all the communication. Because when he was asked, like a thingy, he said that I don't want you to involve me. I don't want you to mention me. I don't want you to even acknowledge that I exist if you are asked about who is the father of your children. And I was, okay, so this is my issue, my problem, and I don't have to involve him anymore. So from that moment forward, I end up being like, okay, took his phone number off my thingy. I didn't contact him, and I was like, okay, it was difficult, but yeah, it can be done. I started focusing on myself. I started focusing on me getting better, on understanding myself, on understanding why I was feeling the way I was feeling, and how could I improve myself? How could I improve my health? And doing that, it, it gave me peace of mind, trust me. It opened my eyes because I end up doing different courses, small, short courses. I went to do a course about like how people end up being obsessed over their partners, how women to be independent from men. It's like domestic violence and all that group and all that kind of studies. I end up completing them studies because I knew that I need to empower myself. I need to understand myself and why I was behaving the way I was behaving. And I end up realizing that if you met someone while you are still young and you end up being dependent to them, it's easy to fall into a loop where you feel like you owe them everything. They are everything to you. Without realizing that somehow then people might be manipulating you on believing that without them you are nothing. So I was on that trap where I was feeling like without him I'm nothing. I can't survive without him. So I moved on, and because with it's like with our relationship, it's like it's really not acknowledged in law by law in England that we were in any kind of relationship. But because we are Muslims and we are like had our nikah, it means we are legally married in Islamic law or in Islamic religion. So I had to ask for a divorce. So I asked for a divorce, and I believe many, especially people who live in England, where like only one wife is allowed. If husbands are already married, legally married to somebody else, they cannot register another wife as their legally wife. They are legally married. So you end up being kind of like a partner or like a side chick, in another word. And it's really not a good feeling. You feel like you are an outsider but also for someone to make you believe in something that you you might be like not really agreeing with it. It's another thing. So for me, I end up being like, no, I need to break free. I know I love my religion, I follow it, and I love and follow everything about it. But also, I know there are things that some Muslim end up taking it for granted, and some people, especially men, end up abusing some rules that are in Islamic law. And I think most of them, they don't understand how women's are going to be feeling after that, or where they are leaving us in the limbo where we don't know what to do. But I think most of them, they are doing it on purpose to make sure that we have no say in a relationship. So while the court, it's like the court, we were still going, and I end up like stop communication with him, and everything was like start moving forward slowly. I end up, it's end up like 6 months or 7 months after that, the first hearing to court, and the judge was really, really, really annoyed with the social services, because he ended up saying that if a mother herself acknowledged that I am not physically fit and I have no social support that can help me, it means you, social services, the government, is within your obligation to build or to make sure that there are like plans where children's needs are met while the mother is receiving physically, emotionally support. But to put her in more pressure of bringing this case to court and wanting to remove her children from her care, it shows that you did not really consider her needs or consider her as a mother. And I want to know, he ended up asking, and I want to know why. And the social services, they came up with some excuses and be like, oh, there was misunderstanding maybe because the first social services, she was like new, she wasn't very experienced and all that. And I was like, I do understand that, but I was also annoyed by that. And because I was told to write a statement, I end up writing a statement that says that because it is really frustrating when someone go ask for help to someone only to be treated the way I was treated. And I felt like if I'm going to be on similar situation later, I will be hesitant on asking for help because of the way that I was treated before. And the judge ended up really praising me and said that I am sure you are a good mother because you show the courage to let your children go, the thing that it's not really easy for any mother to do. But you consider their safety first before anything else. And for me, that was the only thing that I was thinking of. I wanted my children to be safe. I wasn't really trusting. I couldn't trust myself because I didn't know whether my feeling that I'm feeling was that like serious And it's like every time when you listen to the news that a mother end up did something to their children and all that, you end up feeling like, what if I'm going through the same thing that this mother were going through? How am I going to cope if I do that to my child without me really realizing? So it was really difficult things for me to do, but I had to do it. And for that judge saying that, it really made me feel like I wasn't as bad as I was thinking I was. And I know most people won't understand how it feels when you go to ask for help only for people to tell you that we are taking your children away because you are incompetent, you can't look after them, because you're not good enough to look after them. It broke my heart with everything that was going on already. That was like the the hardest thing I ever experienced in my life. So that judge saying that after and said that we are going to have another hearing after a few months. We still didn't know the outcome of the case, and I had a really long way to go, but I felt a little glimpse of light that yes, this judge going to be okay. And I remember my lawyer Alex ended up telling me that don't worry, everything is going to be fine. You show the courage as a good mother, and I am pretty sure that your children are going to be returned. Although I can't guarantee that, but I think your children are going to be returned. So I was still hoping. I was praying and I was still hoping. So we keep moving forward after that. And everything was like starting to settle down. I was like, okay, I'm starting to find myself and I know what I want to do. And it's like, okay, I think I need to sort everything out because my children might either come back or they might not. And at the same time, I had to, it's like with my physical illness, I couldn't work at that time. So it's like what I was getting, like in benefit wise, was less than that can cover anything. So the rent, I was in debt with rent, I was in debt with different things. So it's like out of all that, I had another burden on top of that, financial burden. And trust me, all of these things on top of each other, but I keep smiling, I keep going. And I keep attending the group that I was going. And every time I keep talking about my feelings, what I was going through. And these ladies that I met there and guys, they were so lovely and so supportive. And they were like giving me hope. And they end up like doing trips. So we were going trips like Blackpool and different cities. And that helped me to clear my mind in a way. But at the same time, I was missing my children so much. I was missing out a lot. A lot of months when my son was already like crawling, had teeth already grown, and I think he was starting walking. And I missed all of that. And my daughter, one was like mm, turning 2, and another one was like 4. So it's like I missed out a lot, especially on my son's life. It's like the beginning of his life. I missed almost a year, a year and a half of his life, although I was seeing him, but I didn't see his first step. I didn't hear his first word, but I didn't mind because I knew that I'm doing this for them. I'm doing this also for me to be better. And to move the story forward, we end up going back to court, and the judge suggests that the children should be returned. But before the children were returned, because I was still on therapy, I was still in group therapy, and I was still having a lot of appointment to go deal with my heart and my other health issues. So he said that rather than going to the children to go meet at the special place where the children and mother meet under supervision of social services, the children will be allowed to be visiting home and start like getting used to our place again. And their foster parents, they were so lovely, and they love them so much. I really appreciate them. It's like I can't, there is nothing I can repay for what they did. This lovely couple, Jill and Dennis, they love my children so much. They look after them so much. And every single day, I keep saying that one day, if I can afford it, I will do something special for them. It's not a repayment because I cannot repay that. You can't repay the big debt like that. But I said, I'm going to do something to show them that I appreciate what they did for the first for the first for the first few years of my children's life. And after that, they were like bringing the children so often at my place. We get used to each other, and they were so lovely. And after like 4 months of the ruling from the judge, 4 to 5 months, my children were officially home. And still, this lovely couple, they were like telling me that because you don't have anyone to help you, every weekend we will pick the kids up so we can stay with them for the weekend so you can rest. Without them being paid or nothing or being asked. They just volunteered themselves because they knew that I was a good person. But I was so overwhelmed.
I was so overwhelmed with everything. So after that, we end up becoming really good friends. They became like my second parents, where I called them and asked them for any kind of advice or help. And their dad never contacted us after that. And I was fine with that. I keep moving forward. I never stop going to the groups. I keep attending the groups. And a lot of adventures with the changes group, they help me a lot. And to wrap all this up, after all that, after all the hardship that I went through, I endured during that time, I end up realizing that in life there are friends you might have. Either you are speaking the same language, either you believe in the same religion or not. You might end up finding someone who are from different background, different religion, and they might help you to the amount that you're not going to think that anyone ever helped you before like that. And for me, that was that. So I would like to thank Jill and Dennis for looking after my beautiful children when I couldn't. And I appreciate my lawyer, Alex, who helped me effortless with everything he have to make sure that I get a fair chance on the trial. And also the judge. But also, I was really disappointed by social services in our city, because if a mother who are struggling mentally volunteer themselves to said, I need help, ask, I need help, for them to twist and change everything to make it difficult because they thought that they know better, it wasn't right, because I was already vulnerable. I was already in a state that I didn't need any more pressure that they end up putting in my life. But it's always well, because that taught me to be strong. All of that, all of this taught me to be who I am. It made me who I am today. The journey that started with a simple suggestion, simple, honest, simple asking for help, made me lose nearly 2 years of my children's life, made me lose a lot of things, made me being in a lot of trouble that I never was in before. But most of the time, people who are around us, they are not really aware of what we are going through, because most of the time we end up hiding our pain. We end up masking ourselves because we don't want other people to see our tear. We don't want people to see when we have a runny nose. We don't want people to see us crying. We don't want people to see us vulnerable. But trust me, sometimes being vulnerable might be the only way that you end up getting where you are. Being vulnerable might be the only chance you have for you to find your own freedom, to find your voice, and to find your path. Because of my suffering of mental health, I found my path and end up starting night course and starting studying psychology, wanting to understand the mental well-being. And I got more fascinated by it. I went to from not even earning any equivalent of qualification to end up completing my degree in psychology and do well on it. I graduated with second division 1, and at the moment I am completing my master's degree in health psychology. So all the hardship that I endure uplift me and open my eyes in something different. And this is not the only thing that I went through. I went through too many things. But every single day and every single time I went through this, I never waver. I never give up, because I knew that life is too short, but also life is worth living. Although I wanted to give up too many times, but deep down I said to myself, no, I'm not going to give up. I'm not going to give up. I will never give up. With all the hardship, with all the pain, I am not going to give up. And I'm glad I didn't. I'm really glad I didn't. Because now my children are in high school and we are in really good relationship where we're talking, we are crying together, we are laughing together, we are really good friends. And most of the time I feel guilty towards my son. So my daughters keep telling me that I keep letting him being a little bit naughty and cheeky because I feel like I wronged him. But I know I didn't. But as a mother, you still feel that something is missing. And I know one day, I'll forgive myself and I'll be able to cherish everything. Although I cherish everything I have, but I'm hoping I'll be more proud for the step I took for everything I did, and the thing that I'm still doing. So please stay blessed, stay loved, and make sure to look after yourself. Thank you.